My wife engaged in infidelity and deceit at her friend's wedding, persisting in her actions until she was exposed and ceased communication. I am 36 years old, married for 4 years, and childless. My wife returned from her friend's wedding last month and has since exhibited peculiar behavior. I am plagued by suspicion, though I lack concrete evidence. Nevertheless, I am reluctant to be naive and ignore the warning signs. I have monitored this forum for an extended period and am concerned that my circumstances bear resemblance to numerous accounts of infidelity. Context: my wife's friend was getting married at a countryside wedding. I was also invited as the +1, but I was unable to attend due to my work schedule. Additionally, I was not particularly enthusiastic about attending the wedding because I have not been that close with this friend. She is my wife's work colleague, and I have met her only a couple of times at work parties. However, my wife asserted that she was close with her and could not miss the wedding. After returning from the wedding, she has been acting strange and cold. When I inquired about her behavior, she stated that there was nothing the matter, only work-related issues. The stress of work obligations related to the wedding has been a significant source of distress. It has been over a month since the wedding, and my partner has yet to engage in any form of communication. I am uncertain if this is a cause for concern, but it is noteworthy that we have only engaged in sexual intercourse on 2 occasions during this period. Furthermore, these instances were initiated and insisted upon by me. I recall feeling a sense of obligation to maintain physical intimacy, but after that, I ceased pursuing it. I have inquired on numerous occasions about her willingness to discuss the matter, yet she remains reluctant to open up. The situation has become increasingly worrisome, prompting me to investigate further. However, I did not discover any evidence of wrongdoing. I am merely frustrated by her gaslighting tactics. She is neither forthcoming nor behaving in a normal manner. I am uncertain as to her motives. I have attempted to address the situation through various means, including communication, giving her space, and even monitoring her phone and laptop. I would appreciate advice from individuals who have encountered a similar passive-aggressive dynamic. Thank you in advance for your suggestions. Some have suggested that perhaps she was angry with me for some reason and was therefore acting in a passive-aggressive manner. I was unable to identify any action on my part that would have caused her such distress. Additionally, she is typically vocal about her feelings and does not engage in prolonged periods of silence. Prior to my initial post, I had already confronted her on numerous occasions. At the time, I was reluctant to engage in further discussion with her, but I ultimately decided to inquire as to whether she was upset with me for any reason. She responded in the negative, prompting me to inquire further. I asked if she was upset with me for not attending her friend's event. Following the wedding, she exhibited peculiar behavior. After returning from the event, she remained silent, indicating that she was merely fatigued and stressed due to work-related concerns. This persisted for approximately 2 months, during which her emotional fluctuations persisted. At times, I perceived a return to normalcy, yet after a while, the situation reverted to its initial state. I consulted with friends, who suggested that this might be a transient phase. Consequently, I chose to disregard it and prioritize my work and well-being. In the previous week, I became aware of the reason for her recent behavior. It was at her office's annual function, which I have attended annually, but this year she was reluctant to take me. It typically occurs a week prior to Thanksgiving at the start of November. I inquired multiple times if we received the invitation, but she denied it. It is unclear what her intentions were. Just a couple of days before the event, she informed me about the venue and dress code. When I saw the email, it had been sent weeks ago. She stated that she missed that she did not express any enthusiasm about attending the event and seemed to be searching for ways to avoid it. However, her reluctance led me to suspect that there might be something else going on. I urged her to attend, and the party proceeded without incident. While I did not notice any unusual behavior on her part, my wife seemed noticeably guarded. She did not enjoy the event and did not allow me to spend time alone with her. Typically, she uses such occasions to socialize with senior company officials, while I engage in conversation with her colleagues. In contrast to her usual behavior, she did not leave me alone with anyone, even her juniors. However, she did allow me to speak with a friend whose wedding I had mentioned at the beginning of this thread. She also attended the event with her husband. I apologized to them for being unable to attend the wedding, and they were understanding. As the party continued, the friend's husband became inebriated and revealed details of the wedding. He commented on my wife's appearance and dancing abilities. He was extremely enthusiastic about her and even requested her contact information. To this day, he has expressed that he had a highly enjoyable time with her before he could articulate his thoughts. However, his wife intervened and stated that he was inebriated and unable to communicate effectively. This incident did not occur at the wedding. I would have been more lenient if Brenda, my wife, had not behaved in this manner upon returning from the wedding. She repeatedly interrupted her husband's conversation with colleagues, changing the topic of discussion. Eventually, when he became unresponsive, she ceased her intervention. She then called her friend, who was engaged in conversation with other individuals at the time, and proceeded to remove her husband from the situation. If this behavior was not indicative of underlying issues, then nothing else could be considered so obvious. Not only did I observe this, but also her colleagues and their spouses, who were present during the conversation, also became aware of the situation. They were smirking and rolling their eyes at each other. I excused myself and went to a different location, as I found the situation to be highly embarrassing. Subsequently, I observed Brenda's friend departing the gathering with her husband, who had nearly lost consciousness. Brenda approached me and appeared to be in a normal state of mind. I gave her a look to convey what had transpired. She inquired whether I had witnessed how inebriated her husband was and whether she believed he was capable of speaking truthfully. Once again, she resorted to deceit and manipulation. She also consumed alcohol. It is unclear to me whether she was actually intoxicated or merely attempting to avoid the conversation. It was unclear whether she was actually inebriated or attempting to circumvent the conversation. I waited for the next day. She attempted to evade me, but I was no longer willing to tolerate her outbursts. I informed her that I had a suspicion that she had engaged in infidelity at her friend's wedding. Instead of avoiding or providing false information, she should come clean and confess. I took possession of her phone, and she attempted to take it from me. I initiated communication with her friend, whereupon she proceeded to reprimand her friend's outspoken spouse for disclosing the incident. It is probable that she would have changed the password on that day, but she was taken unawares. Despite all the evidence, she persisted in her false narrative, claiming that her friend's husband was merely inebriated after hours of verbal altercation and victim blaming. Finally, she lowered her guard, admitting that it was just a one-time thing. The issue of time also arose, and given her considerable inebriation, when the groomsmen made a move, she was unable to control herself. I was so incensed that I struck the table and injured myself. My anger was not only directed at her infidelity but also at her persistent attempts to discredit the situation. She asserted that her actions were motivated by guilt. Her behavior indicated that if she was experiencing guilt, she should have exhibited remorse and strengthened our relationship, rather than avoiding me. Her demeanor was repugnant, and I was unable to tolerate her presence. I removed myself from the situation by taking my phone, iPad, and other personal items and leaving the house. She did not contact me or send any messages for 2 days following the incident. On the day in question, she sent a text message inquiring as to my whereabouts and expected time of return. She also expressed remorse and attempted to elicit sympathy. I have been residing with a friend since that day, and the prospect of returning to her is appealing. I am uncertain about my future actions, but I am currently in a state of distress. Update 2. I elected to initiate divorce proceedings because I had acquired further information. I will now supplement the preceding account. I remained with my friend for several additional days. Brenda sent me text messages and made phone calls, requesting my return home. I did not respond to any of these communications. In truth, I was unable to determine my next course of action. My friend advised me to engage in dialogue. To that friend's husband, who revealed the information, I located him on social media and sent him a message requesting a meeting. Initially, he attempted to conceal and express remorse for the misunderstanding, stating that he was intoxicated and therefore should not be taken seriously. I informed Brenda that he had confessed to infidelity and expressed my desire to speak with him. I then requested that he refrain from disclosing this information to his wife or Brenda. He agreed. I inquired about the specifics of the incident. Initially, he was reluctant to divulge any details. However, upon recognizing my emotional state, he provided a comprehensive account. It became evident that my wife had engaged in infidelity not once, but on multiple occasions during the 2-day wedding event. Furthermore, it was not a spontaneous act. During the 2-day wedding event, my wife was seen with the groomsmen, engaging in social activities and displaying flirtatious behavior. They were observed to be evading the majority of the wedding functions and staying in their hotel room. Their proximity was evident to many attendees, leading to speculation about their relationship status. I inquired about the veracity of the rumor that his friend was requesting Brenda's contact information. He confirmed this information. His friend was interested in her, not for a serious relationship, but he believed that Brenda was a woman interested in casual encounters because of the way she was acting on that day. This information was so extreme that it made me feel as though I had never known my wife. I wanted to know what she was thinking that day, but after experiencing so much drama, I realized that getting closure was not worth it because, despite this, she continued to present herself in a positive light. It seems unlikely that she would ever reveal her actual feelings, but the meeting provided clarity. I was now firmly resolved to divorce her. I returned home during her office hours, packed my belongings, and relocated with my friend. She called me in a state of distress, but I ignored her when the divorce papers reached her. She texted me, requesting a meeting. Prior to signing the document, I consented to a meeting at a public location. She arrived with red, puffy eyes and attempted to negotiate a compromise, requesting an opportunity to explain. I informed her that I was aware of the complete truth and that I was unable to forgive her for her actions. She had not confessed to everything after returning from the wedding, as I had hoped she would. Instead, she had made my life unbearable, and even after she was exposed, she did not take responsibility for her actions. Despite being exposed, she only confessed to half the truth, attributing the blame to the other party. She then proceeded to sob and claim that she had quit her job because, that night, some of her colleagues had also heard the conversation in which she admitted to cheating on me. As a result, she became the subject of ridicule and was labeled a cheater at work. I informed her that I had made up my mind and was not willing to reconsider. Despite her tears and pleas, it became evident that her actions would not change the situation. Therefore, it was decided that a separation should be conducted in an amicable manner. After a few days, she signed the divorce papers and vacated the house. The lease still had a year and a few months remaining, so I returned to the house. However, I was eager to move out of the house. She had already removed the majority of her belongings, leaving only a few of her discarded articles of clothing and accessories were present in the residence, which I have disposed of. However, the home decor and some of the other items that we purchased together are aesthetically displeasing. After all this, I do not believe that I can say that I have moved on, not even an inch. However, I am optimistic that I will eventually be able to do so. Living independently is a preferable alternative to continuing to reside in an environment that is toxic.